Next October, while this may sound a personal story of our family, it is not. This is the story of all of us here in this room, investors, entrepreneurs, everybody. We are all sharing the same passion for innovation. We are all sharing the same optimism and resilience, which is actually the Israeli story. So I would like to please ask you to remember this is about all of us here who believe in doing, who believe in moving forward, despite everything that we have all endured over the last year. Just to give context, this is the story of the Israeli high tech, which I've been a very proud member of for the last more than 30 years. We have many companies, many foreign companies who participate in the Israeli ecosystem. A large list of very good investors, Dan Loeb here representing Third Point being one of them, and many other people here in the room as well. And the whole ecosystem is vivid and active in creating many good stories. Part of this is the economic story. For those of you entrepreneurs, be happy about the bottom line of this slide. We are paying a lot of taxes. More than 30% of the Israeli income taxes are coming from about 11% of our workforce. I guess good news for all of us. We are paying a lot, which means we are contributing. We are doing our extra share in restarting the Israeli economy. And then came October 7th. This is a picture I took myself in a kibbutz called Kfar Aza. Those of you unfamiliar with the Kfar Aza story, this is the young people neighborhood in Kfar Aza. Yotam Chahim was taken from his apartment here and was killed later on in Gaza. And so was Alon Shimraz. And so was actually Neta Epstein. Lost his life here in one of these apartments while falling on purpose on a grenade, and thus saving the life of his fiancée. He lost his life, but saved the life of other people, and so did other people in this neighborhood, including Nitzan Lipstein, who is also a close family friend of ours. This is how this neighborhood looked about 2 months post October 7th, and then comes the story of our son, brother of Ophir, Yaron. Yaron was 21 years at falling. He was our 4th child. He was part of a special patrol unit of the Nahal Brigade. They were in charge of the southern part of the border on October 7th. The unit was located, ironically, in a place called Kibbutz Kerem Shalom. Those of you not fluent in Hebrew, Kerem Shalom translates into vineyards of peace. This is what they were doing on October 7th. For a few weeks back, they were guarding the border. They were the first responders to Hamas, to the Hamas attack on Saturday morning of October 7th. They faced hundreds and hundreds of Nukhba Hamas terrorists who overthrew the border on the southern part of Gaza and tried to take over a number of kibbutzim in that area. Yaron's unit was in Kerem Shalom. He and 2 other Israeli soldiers stood at the entrance to the kibbutz, which was the only entrance possible to the kibbutz because it is surrounded by a wall. And they stood there for a long time, combating dozens and dozens of terrorists whose mission we know today was the same mission they had for other kibbutzim. They were supposed to enter the kibbutz, to take over, to burn, to murder, to torture, to kidnap people, and do everything as they did in other places. But in this case, 3 Israeli soldiers prevented them from doing so. The 3 of them were wounded, one of them critically wounded, another one sort of some sort of a severe condition. And Yaron was the last one to be wounded, and eventually he lost his life there. But they actually prevented those terrorists from coming in. This is the picture of the kibbutz by kibbutz Kerem, of the jeep that they took into the entrance of the kibbutz. This is actually a picture of the Kerem Shalom surrounded by the wall, and this is where they stood and prevented those many terrorists from coming in. A few months later, the people in the kibbutz started to realize what happened. All of them were saved. All civilians of the kibbutz were evacuated later on that night, but they were kept intact, including the soldiers in an adjacent base. Hundreds of people owe their lives to 3 Israeli soldiers who stood there at the entrance to the kibbutz and prevented this atrocity from happening there. We received many messages from people at the kibbutz who suddenly realized just a couple of months later what really happened on the outside of the kibbutz. They were sitting in shelters, they heard all the combat noises, but didn't really realize what happened. And then they began to realize what the story was. This is a picture from the inner side of the kibbutz. This is the wall that you have just seen. Those of you who can see on the back side of this slide is the border of Gaza. This is how close Gaza is to Kibbutz Kerem Shalom. And this is a message that we received from one of the kibbutz members. It will probably be hard to read from back there, so let me read this to you. She writes to me by WhatsApp. This is Israeli. Everybody can get a hold of other people's numbers, especially if you were a minister in the government, your number is exposed out there. So she writes to me and says, "My name is Hannah Lilienthal. I am a member of Kibbutz Kerem Shalom. I've just become aware of Yaron's falling while protecting my house and the kibbutz that I so much love. He, together with his friends, saved my life, my husband's life, the lives of my 4 children. One of them is a 10 days old baby. My parents' lives, my grandmother's, and my brother's lives. He saved the lives of many of my friends, families, and many visitors who stayed with us at Kerem Shalom that day. I have not enough words to thank you for this. I just wanted you to know how much we appreciate, cherish, and endlessly thank him for his devotion and sacrifice while protecting our kibbutz. There are not enough words." While we had our Shiva mourning period in our house, we started thinking about how we want to commemorate Yaron. He was a special character, a charismatic leader. We called him a crazy diamond, and we still do. And then we kind of recall this nice Jewish tradition of planting trees on behalf of people who passed away or we lost during battle. And then we began thinking as to, we are 3 high-tech people in our family, myself, Ophir, and Lior, Ophir's brother, and Yaron's. And we said, instead of planting a tree, we are going to plant a company, we are going to seed a company. We quickly moved on to planting or seeding companies, and then we said, everybody deserves to be remembered and commemorated. This is not only about Yaron, this is not only about the soldiers. All those people we have lost deserve to be commemorated, and that includes the 3-month-old baby from Be'eri who was brutally murdered, and the 86 years old lady from Kfar Aza. They all deserve to be commemorated and remembered, and this is how we came about the Next October initiative.